Hi, Jonathan York from Bay Financial Partners, looking at investment markets. Still a pretty interesting time out there for global equity markets. We did see a little bit of a sort of relief rally towards the sort of beginning of last week and sort of tail end. That's petered out a little bit now, but market is still up a little bit from sort of a couple of weeks ago. It's just going to be very sort of interesting now to see how the sort of market behaves. Certainly we have had quite a few high-profile corporate executives purchasing shares for the companies they work for, and that's really been viewed as a pretty good sign that maybe things aren't quite as bad as being reported in the media. Obviously a pretty interesting time for the central banks, and especially in the US with the Fed. They were looking for further sort of rate increases throughout this year. That has really been scaled back now on the back of the sort of market volatility over the first sort of 6 odd weeks of the year. But it's interesting now, one of the big fund managers out there, BlackRock, have come out and said that really the market's really underestimating the Fed. Maybe inflation is a little bit stronger than first anticipated, and possibly the market's a little bit behind where the Fed should be. That really all comes down to sort of perception on inflation. Certainly on the data we're seeing coming through, most inflationary measures are pretty low out there. But again, if you look at certain sort of sectors, especially in the US housing market, again, that inflation is really pushing through at quite a strong rate. Interesting to note as well that oil is now back above 30 bucks and sort of holding around that sort of $31, $32 a barrel. Really quite interesting. So most of the analysts and sort of company forecasts are still predicting oil between sort of 40 to 50 bucks by year end. Also sort of quite interesting to note as well that in this sort of increased market volatility and supposedly sort of shying away from equities, gold really hasn't done too much. Still hovering around the sort of $1,200 an ounce. Here in New Zealand, we've got a Fonterra offer in the marketplace, a 7-year bond. Rate hasn't been set yet. It's looking on the sort of current interest rates to be around sort of 441 to sort of 456 as an indicative interest rate. But say that hasn't been set yet. And if you're interested in that, a very tight timeline for that issue. If you're interested in that, call us on 0800 867 323. As discussed many times, there are sort of other options out there for income, especially here in New Zealand. If you are interested in exploring these options, you've got high dividend shares, you've some of the property trusts, really offering some pretty reasonable returns. Again, the structure as well under the sort of PI regime can be advantageous as well to some investors. And if you're interested in these, call us on 0800 867 323 or go to the website www.bayfinancialpartners.co.nz for lots of interesting articles. We look forward to speaking to you soon.